Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we iron out a couple of bugs here. We gotta straighten the curtains, jiggle the wires, press some buttons, that sort of thing. We got it all fixed. We're okay here. And we're gonna start things off from the top. Back to Grondious with Cuphead.
Hello, everybody. Funny seeing you all here. First time. I'm sure you all have seen me. I'm going to be doing some, as you said, Cuphead action. The DLC specifically. So the goal is to get to the DLC. We got to do a little bit to get there. And then kill all the main DLC bosses ASAP. That's the goal. And joining me on commentary is the legendary SPD Wolf.
Chef's kiss. I mean, sorry, I got my script wrong again.
In reverse order.
Yeah. Hi. That's what I meant to say there. Okay, cool. Yes. Okay.
All right. Really glad to have you here, Wolf. All right. So time for this run's going to start here in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. All right.
I mean, no. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
All right. Yeah, Wolf also, I think there's some wires that need to be yanked and some buttons that need to be pushed. He's maybe got broken there as well. But anyways, this is Cuphead. Every frame of animation of this game was hand-drawn. Actually insane feat of art. Really cool game. But to start off the speedrun, we're going to be picking up 3 coins from the apple here, going into Forest Follies, and I'm going to be getting 5 more coins here. This is going to be to buy our weapons. Maybe you can go over, Wolf, a little bit of the what's kind of going on here in Forest Follies.
Yes, so this is the only running gun stage that he's going to play during this run, which is basically an optional stage that you can do in this game to collect coins that can be used to buy different weapons. This has a dual purpose. It also opens up the path to the DLC. Otherwise, we'd have to basically fight 2 bosses instead. Yeah, the objective is to get 5 coins so that we buy the weapons that we need. As far as optimizing this actual stage goes, the main form of movement is the dash, which is basically something that propels Cuphead forward by a fixed distance. So that's basically what's used to go through the stage. We just try to find the way to fit as many dashes in as possible. He did an acorn clip towards the end. That's a bit of a newer method that only it's the only one of the only ways to click through the acorn maker on Grand Patch. You just hug the acorn maker and just press jump and X on the same frame, and that's that. That's the stage. Now he's gonna go buy the weapons that he needs for this run, which are Smoke Bomb and Chaser, and then it's gonna do the Mausoleum.
I hope it's not Smoke Bomb and Chaser. No, actually, a really cool note about this route that I think is very unique that doesn't happen in many speedruns is there's actually a lot of weapon combos that people have been like experimenting with and trying. I'm going to be picking up the lobber and spread weapons. The lobber here, you can get it bouncing, as you can see, and
it bounces. Yeah,
it bounces. That's all you need to know. It's a great weapon. We call these like lobber traps. It also has a pretty beefy cooldown, so you can go do cool things where you do like flick shots and stuff on the cooldown. So there's just a lot of like versatility to the weapon. It's a great utility weapon. And then spread shot's just the highest DPS weapon in the game. So that's why I'm using it. This level's a bit of an auto scroller. That's why I'm kind of just demonstrating some of this stuff as I kind of wait for these ghosts to spawn in. But yeah, those are the weapons I'm using. There is another really popular weapon combo. I actually traded back world record back and forth with Markin, who was using charge spread. That weapon combo is really good too. There's people who've experimented with charge twist up. I've even heard rumors of roundabout spread. Like there's a lot of weapon combos that are actually pretty dang viable. Lobber spread has come out on top. At this point, it is definitely the fastest weapon combo, but it's really cool to have seen like that much variety even at the top level.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that we can't quite find the coin route to make Whetstone work.
Yeah, I love Whetstone. Everybody who knows me knows I love Whetstone. But no, instead of the Charm Whetstone, we're going to be picking up the Miss Chalice Charm. She's a new character, but to access her, you use this like cookie that basically lets you use her. And I'm going to be going into the first DLC boss as Miss Chalice. Maybe you can kind of explain a little bit about her moveset as I get the geese, which is not what you want to see.
Yeah, so like the main difference between Chalice is that she has a double jump essentially. So it allows, most notably for the lobber combination, it allows for the creation of higher lobber traps, keep DPS in more situations. Her parry is on her dash as opposed to her jump, so that's another thing that can change the dynamics of some fights. She also has 4 HP for extra damage boosting, so she can save time in multiple ways, and it's basically all packaged in one charm, which makes her optimal for basically all bosses. It works a little bit differently when it comes to shoot 'em up stages, but we're going to see more of that later.
And one thing I'm doing cool here is actually a glitch that's very similar to a Donkey Kong Country 1 glitch, so we named it after that. It's called the jump roll, and basically, it's actually a pretty easy sequence. If you're playing this Chalice as you fall into that last phase, for whatever reason, you could use your double jump, use an EX, then dash, and you just start spinning. Like, that's the whole trick. And you could kind of just hover up there and shoot him really well without having to worry about those platforms down below. It's a really cool, glitch that's unique to that boss. But now we'll be going into Mortimer. This is like, bosses like this is why Lobber Spread initially was like, thought maybe this wouldn't be the best combo, because it's really hard to deal with like aerial bosses when I have these weapons. Like, Lobber is kind of like more of a mid-range weapon, and Spread's close range, so dealing with something in the air like this is pretty annoying. But, you know, as strats developed, there's definitely ways of going about it and handling all this.
Yeah, it's definitely more awkward, but it's very much workable. Initially, we thought that Lobber was kind of dead at the start of DLC, because a lot of these DLC bosses are just a lot more mobile than they are in the base game, where Lobber is like undoubtedly meta. But eventually, we just found ways to make it work, and surprisingly now, Lobber is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That was all Mortimer. Apparently that clearly Snowman is a Yeti. In the game's code, it calls it a Yeti, so yeah, yep. that was the Yeti. Moving on is Howling Aces. This is another boss. Like, initially, Lobber Spread was like, there's no way this is gonna work out. You got these dogs that are like flying all over the place, and again, you have these weapons that are not like, you know, these long-range bullets like you'd have with other guns. But you just have to kind of like manage this plane guy. Like, as you stand on the sides of the wings, it kind of steers him in directions. But also during like transitions and stuff, he kind of just does whatever he wants. So he could kind of control you a bit. So there's a lot of like little bits of like weird like micromanagement on this fight, but it actually makes it pretty fun.
Yeah, compared to Charge, Lobber is a lot more inconsistent and finicky, and like it makes you work a lot harder to achieve some things. But the main advantage that we really touch on is that Lobber Spread takes a lot less time to obtain than Charge does. Charge, you have to spend, I think, 23 seconds to get all the coins you need. So the fact that it can like sort of keep up is really good, and on some bosses it actually does better.
Nice, this fight ended up going pretty good. Now, the DLC definitely twists things up on you. No pun intended there. But the screen literally turns to the side. If the fight continues, it'll be upside down. Like, it just keeps flipping around. And that could be pretty awkward to control. Like, it's one of those kind of like things that could really catch you off guard in the DLC. I love the design of these bosses and like kind of the risks they took as developers to like throw out these really wild mechanics to test the players in different ways.
Yeah, as a casual player, it can be a bit of a rough fight at first, but it's manageable.
Oh, now moving on into Esther, maybe you could talk about how Chalice has like her plane levels are actually where she's the most different.
Yeah, so basically, her machine gun is basically kind of a spread weapon. So like she outputs 3 bullets at the same time at a bit of a slower fire rate. And it might seem a bit of a weaker weapon, but actually her damage per second is slightly higher than Cuphead's. And so she ends up being optimal for plane fights too. The one disadvantage of Chalice is the fact that her EX moves are a little bit weaker. While Cuphead shines on bosses that have like very wide hitboxes where his plane EX can hit for multiple ticks of damage. But that's not much the case for Esther. In this case, it's enough to just keep track, keep good aim over, and just, you know, play other up close game, use nukes when necessary, and you get some really strong times as well here.
He just had a bit of a mild heart attack there, and I really don't like being at this HP for this, but We're struggling through. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Esther down.
Yeah, that final phase gets pretty hectic.
Yeah. A lot of too, like, this game really rewards like highly aggressive play. So you'll see me taking just a lot of damage boosts, like going down to really low HP. And it does put you in some situations sometimes that you're very likely to either die or you need to like play it safe, like back off a bit, like I did there.
All right, next fight is honestly one of the more complicated ones in this run. A lot of it ends up boiling down to phase 1. Basically, this boss is gonna randomly pop in and out of different levels, stop randomly for different attacks, which can affect in how many cycles you can finish this fight off. And to top it all off, he can summon minions and he can summon bombs, which can be used to hurt him himself and deal more damage, which makes the fight more complicated. And that all ends up affecting how you play phase 2 as well, because if there's too many minions on screen, then you can't do the same strats. And how you do phase 2 also affects how you do phase 3, because if you can't deal as much damage in phase 2, then you can't get the quick kill in phase 3. And yeah, this fight's a mess.
Yeah. It's really crazy how like phase 1 basically changes how you're going to approach everything else in the fight, as Wolf was saying. But that ended up actually being turning out pretty good. You can skip the nose if the damage lines up just right. I was barely off there, but still overall a solid fight. And with that,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, a bit of a shame you didn't skip the antelope. That's all I was gonna say.
The antelope, yeah, it's clearly a Sagan antelope, not this anteater that people talk about, but. No,
I don't know what it is.
Be moving on into the last boss. Surprise, the chef who helped us out at the start. We kind of skipped over all the dialogue and cutscenes, but he was like supposedly a good guy, but it turns out he betrays us and he's super evil, and you're gonna see him chop up a whole bunch of innocent people. But anyways, this fight here, it's an insane fight. It's easily the hardest fight in the run. It's insane fight casually. Like, it's just a really crazy fight with a lot going on. And the speedrun strats are just insane. There is like one like super nuts skip that does exist. It's only ever been gotten in runs 2 times ever, so it's really unlikely to happen here. But
yes, and we call it the chef's kiss.
There's been a little bit of a debate on what to call it. It's been between chef's kiss and Saltament Jutsu. Maybe all of you in Carter's chat can put in your votes of what you think is best, but yeah.
Oh, we're bringing the votes over here, huh?
Yeah, we're turning this into that. That's the progression of this. But yeah, here you basically have to kill these salt shakers, and oh well, actually, 1 second, I got a chance at this.
Oh yeah, giving time to focus.
Not quite. It was good setup though. So right there, if there's so many mechanics, there's not enough time with the Desperathon to talk about it. That's time, by the way. There's an insane skip where he could die before this phase comes out. That's the one I was talking about, and I was going for it there. You never quite know until the fight's over.
The gist of it is you deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
boom.
That's basically it. But yeah, that's the Cuphead DLC. It's over. That run actually went really smooth. For those of you Cuphead fans out there, that was an 11:10 without load times. Because we removed the load times in this game to keep it even for everyone's computer. But yeah, basically we actually, it's funny in this case because we're playing as Miss Chalice. It was kind of like we rescued Cuphead, but normally you're supposed to be like rescuing Miss Chalice or whatever in the like soul jar that Chef captures them in. Yeah, this game, I mean, one of the most special games ever to me. I've speedrun this for a long time, and the DLC came out, and I couldn't be happier with it. I think you kind of felt similar, Wolf, that you were just like, man, the DLC is amazing. Like,
yeah, there's not that many cases in which a game's development gets delayed a lot, and the final product still delivers, but this is one of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It took years for this to come out. There was so many memes in the community, like, the DLC is delayed. Like, people kept leaking this tweet for like years straight of like, the DLC is delayed. But yeah, it's here and it's amazing. It's a great category to get into for those of you out there that may be interested in speedrunning Cuphead. But there's also like the base game, the DLC, and the base game all in one run. There's lots of different ways to go about it depending on what you like. And I really think it's a great run to get into. But yeah, as this outro plays out, I just want to absolutely thank Carter for having me on the Pixels for People marathon. This is a really cool event to be a part of, and Carter's a runner I absolutely respect a lot. So it's really cool to be on here. And Wolf, thank you so much for joining me on commentary.
Something.
We still got some stuff to work out. They may have fixed the stream, but we got to fix the SPD Wolf later. He is a task bot, as some of you may know. So, yeah, little bit of malfunctioning there, but yeah. Thank you all so much for having me, and good luck with the rest of the marathon.
For more cartoon goodness, I mean, I haven't seen this DLC yet. It's always amazing to see just this sheer precision of a Cuphead run. We did have a donation that did come up for you, $5 from Pavi Boxy that says, "Good luck, Grand. May the best of mausoleum times and geese bless the run."
Well, we did get geese. Thanks,
we did get
Bobby.
geese. And thank you, folks, for tuning in and sending in your donation dollars. We're out for a quick break. We'll have more Castlevania coming up next.